Yeah, good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. Um, Welcome to this introduction video. Sorry it took this long. We've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes, right? So waiting and um, instead of making you wait for so long, I figured we can start with a little bit of introduction, getting our machines ready, and then prepare ourselves for what is to come, right? So, as you can see, I am on .net.microsoft.com/en-us. This is the website for Microsoft.net. Um, Fun thing is Microsoft.net is actually celebrating 20 years, right? So the .NET ecosystem, .NET framework, and everything .NET has been up and running for 20 years now, while Visual Studio is celebrating 25 years. Those are quite interesting fits, right? So um, I think what this should make you understand that, oh, okay, what you're trying to learn is something that I've gone through time, tested, trusted, and unique, So this should, give you an edge in the community. Um, .NET actually, if you scroll down, it says free cross-platform open source and a developer platform for building all your apps, right? So when it says all your apps, it's talking about all of this, it's talking about web, mobile, desktop, microservices, cloud, machine learning, game development, Internet of Things. So yeah, you can use .NET to do all of these things. Um, yeah, I think I work with the web, not yet with mobile, not yet with desktop, a little bit about around microservices, also with the cloud, right? I work with the clouds fairly. Machine learning, not yet, game development and Internet of Things, right? So, but these are the opportunities that, are available to you if you understand the ecosystem of .NET. But for this program, we're basically going to be teaching you websites and web apps. Yeah. So we'll be working mostly with this part of the ecosystem, right? We would also dive into microservices a bit, right, towards the end of the program. But yeah, we'll be working mostly with websites and web apps. And right. Now that I even mentioned websites and web apps, I think we should also talk a bit about what's the difference between those two things are, right? So you've been hearing about websites, you've been hearing about web apps. Like, what is the difference, right? So the main difference is, I think, interactivity, right? How a user interacts with a platform determines if that platform is either a website or a web app, right? So let's see. Let's see. Hmm, okay, let's see Wikipedia. So Wikipedia, it's more like a website, because it has little or no interactivity. It's more like, let's search for .NET. It's more like a an informational based website where you just come and read informations, then click from one page to the other. So more like a website, right? But a web app is like a platform that you can interact with. Say let me see. Give me a second. Yeah. So something like let's go to Facebook. Facebook is a better option, right? Yeah, we've all used Facebook. I probably would not like to sign into my Facebook, right? But we've all used Facebook. You see how you can interact with Facebook. You could post messages, you could comment, you could comment on posts and stuff like that. So that is an example of a web app, right? So that's like the main difference. And the main difference, right? And then when you want to build a platform or a web app or a website, the basic thing you need to do is to learn programming, right? All developers are programmers first, right? Web, you're building for the web, you're building for mobile, you're building for desktop, you're a programmer first, right? So you need to learn programming, and programming, it's like speaking to your computer in different languages. So there are different languages out there. There's C#, there's JavaScript, there's Go, there's Rust, and a lot of other, even for .NET ecosystem, you could see that you could use C#, F#, or VB.NET to code in the .NET ecosystem. Just in the .NET ecosystem, you could use any of these three languages to code in the ecosystem. So more or less like speaking to your computer and telling your computer, do this, do this, do this. More like speaking between ourselves, right? As humans now. The same information can be passed across in different languages, right? I could tell you to come to me in English, which is what I just said, and then someone else could do the same thing in Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba. And if you are the receiving end, understand what information they are trying to pass to you, you would eventually carry out the message of that information, right? So it doesn't have to come in one way. The same thing with programming. Programming doesn't have to come in one language. It could come in C#, F#, or VB.NET. It could come in JavaScript, Go, or whatever other language you want to, and then that information will be processed by the computer or by the machine, and then the result of that information or request would be sent back to you. Also, for this program, we would be working mainly with C#, like we've mentioned. We'll be working mainly with C#. And what is C#? Let's even see let's go back to Wikipedia. I think it's .com. Yeah, so I'm just going to search C#. Let's see what's up there. No. Okay, let's use Google. C# Wikipedia. Okay, C#. So C# is a general purpose multi-paradigm programming language, compasses static typing, strong typing, and all of these other things, right? So but the most important thing you want to get from there is a general purpose multi-paradigm programming language. General purpose, like we've seen, you could use it for web, for mobile, for desktop, whatever you want to use it for with the help of the .NET SDK, right? So basically, we're going to be starting our learning from C# and then moving up the ladder, right? So let's say as a young boy or girl or lady, you're learning English, right? You're not just going to go into learning grammars or learning all those, complicated stuff. You're going to start from the basics, right? IT, ISP, stuff like that. And then when you improve on all of those, you go probably to 3 letters, 4 letters, sentences, paragraphs, and stuff like that, right? So it's the same thing with programming. You need to learn the basics, you need to learn C# and what you can do with it, stuff. Yeah, what stuff you can do with it, and then you can grow from there to using it to build your websites or your web apps or your game apps and all of those, right? So we're going to start with C# and then we're going to move on to the frameworks. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. My internet went bad for a second. Okay, yeah. So Yeah, so we're going to start with C Sharp. I think that was where I stopped, and then move on to frameworks. Mm, Frameworks that we're going to be using, like the more complicated stuff, ASP.NET and stuff to build an API or a web app or a website or even a microservice, right? Yeah. And to get all of this, to get to get all of this available to you, you need to download the SDK. So right here on this platform.net.microsoft.com, you need to download the SDK. And yeah, so for the program, I would be using Windows um, Windows 10 PC. I'm pretty sure most of the other mentors will be using the same, except maybe a few would be using a MacBook and other machines, right? So if you want to follow along, would probably advise that you use the same thing, right? That would help. It doesn't mean that you cannot use other PCs, but just to follow along easily, you probably should use a Windows 10 PC. And then you can now get any of this. So if you're using a Windows PC, you need to come to this place and then get a Windows um, version of the SDK. However, the most recent version of the SDK is .NET 6, but I would like for us to get .NET 5 SDK, which is the current. This would help us to, um, because there are a couple of changes to the .NET 6 SDK, which would probably be a bit more confusing for you to start with. So I would like for us to start with the .NET 5, which would help us understand some of the concepts better before moving to .NET 6, right? So get the .NET 5 SDK, come here, um, then come to Windows and get a 64-bit option, the installer for the 64-bit option, right? So I'm not sure anyone should be using a 32-bit option, but you could get this. Or if you're using an ERM machine, you could get this also. Yeah. So that is one thing that you need. And um, let's see. After getting the command, so after getting it and installing it, one way to confirm that it's been installed successfully is you go on your console and type this command .NET dash dash version. Then you see the version that is installed in your PC, right? So it's saying 6 for me. However, I think I have all three installed: .NET 6, .NET 5, and .NET um, .NET 3, right? So I need to let's see. Let me see. I'll get all versions installed. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to get a command for doing that. Yes. Oh my God. Come in. Let me check this. I know there is a list. I can't seem to know where it's. So let's see. Framework Flash. Let's see. The net core 3.1, blah, blah, blah. Nope, that's not what I want. However, just using the .NET dash dash version would create what you Let's see if it's a dash list. Oh, let's see. Let's try dash list, dash fashion. I don't know. I just wanted to point out all three. Okay, let me just get it, and I'll pause the video and then get back to. Okay, so yeah, this is the command actually, .NET dash dash list dash SDKs, right? So it lists all the SDKs that are installed. So I have all three SDKs installed. However, if I type in .NET dash dash version, it tells me that this is a recent one installed and this is the one that it would use most of the time. But there is a way to use any of these other options if I wish to. So please get your systems or your machines ready, install the SDK, and then when you finally install it, please send a message to the group to say that you installed the SDK. I'm going to create a poll. I'm going to create a poll later on today to check for who and who have installed the SDK and then who we're waiting for. By the end of by Saturday, we should have our first official class, and then the resources will be shared to everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, and do have a wonderful week ahead.